around May the 9th. Why May the 9th, you ask? Because that is the day that Russia has its grand Red Square military parade. That is the day when they commemorate and indeed celebrate the ending of World War II, or as they call it, the Great Patriotic War. And my guess is that Putin is going to do everything he can to secure some sort of prize for May the 9th. That's my guess. That's what I think. In many ways, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, joining me now is security expert and former British Army intelligence officer, Philip Ingram MBE. Philip, good evening.
Good evening, Nigel.
You heard my talk there. I mean, I'm very fearful. You know, some people said that the advance on Kyiv, they were old tanks, they were raw recruits, but my fear is that the best of Putin's army is going to be active, very active, in eastern Ukraine in the next couple of weeks.
I never thought I'd ever hear myself saying this, but I agree with you completely. Putin has used his best forces in his initial attacks, which his main effort was to try and topple the government of Ukraine. And he and his foreign minister Lavrov both said that. And then they put their GRU, their Spetsnaz, into Kiev in civilian vehicles, which all of a sudden had Zs painted on them the day the invasion came in. They put a very complex attack helicopter air mobile operation in to try and capture the airport to the northwest of Kiev. And they got a small toehold in there before the Ukrainians kicked them out. They tried to take that toehold and grow it to a foothold and a beachhead by flying paratroopers in. Ukrainians shot down two of their Ilyushin 76s, killing up to 600 paratroopers. And they tried to meet it and join it up with an armoured column coming in from the north. And it was, more than a bridge too far. It was a column too far. They got stuck. And then the Ukrainians started to pick them off, and they've had to withdraw. So they've lost so far.
So if we look at this, if he throws everything he's got at those eastern Ukrainian areas in the next couple of weeks, are you saying that even with the full might of Russia being deployed, are you saying that the Ukrainians are sufficiently armed to take him on and beat him? And secondly, these are very contested areas anyway, aren't they?
They are. It's interesting. Russia has done some good things militarily. They have put their operation under one single commander. Beforehand, each of the different approaches were under different commanders. So they've done that, and he can set his priorities. The second thing they've done is by focusing now, coming in from the southeast, is that they've shortened their lines of communication into Russia itself so they can get their troops in quicker, they can get their logistics in quicker. However, things that they haven't done and won't be able to do, they won't be able to change their commanders' experience and tactics. And it's quite clear the commanders are not up to these sort of complex military what are called combined arms, all arms operations. And they'll never get them up on time. They have not got their logistics tuned properly to support these sorts of operations. And they're going to be attacking into an area where the Ukrainians have been preparing defences for over 8 years and will have their best troops in there waiting for this to happen. So I think the Russians are going to throw as much as they can at it. I don't think they're going to get the numerical superiority that you would need for attacking into a defensive position, which is in theory 3-1 superiority. And I think the Ukrainians are going to give them another bloody nose.
Interesting. No, as you say, they've had a long time to dig in and prepare. And just one last thought, please, while I've got you, Philip. And overnight, I'm very sceptical about all news reports I see. I really am. I know there's disinformation going on and all sorts of things. But overnight, we had fears that chemical weapons had been used in Mariupol. Yeah. Can you comment on that, please?
Yeah, I can. It's a single source report that came in from either members of the Ukrainian Marine Brigade or of the Azov regiment that's been defending from a large steelworks. And they talked of a drone spraying something and then people suffering chemical poisoning symptoms. It's highly unlikely. It's not the sort of mechanism that you would deploy a chemical weapon from easily. You need a greater concentration that's in there. Single source, you can't confirm it. The troops are desperate. They'll know that as soon as you say chemicals and put it out into social media, that will cause a stir around the world. They want NATO to come in and try and help them. That's the only way that's going to save their lives on the ground. I think if there was a chemical incident, it's more likely to be an accidental release of toxic industrial chemicals from within the steelworks, potentially because something's gone bang beside it as part of the conventional battle that's going on. But there's just not enough information to make a call one way or the other.
As I said at the start of that little